This is one variation on how to wrap your hands for boxing or kickboxing. I recommend first that you use 180-inch hand wraps and Mexican style for adults. To start, you'll have your wrap wound up, and some people prefer to continue the wrap of the hands by having it wrapped up or balled up like this. I prefer just to let it go, let it loose, and start the wrap from there. Personal preference, again, you can do it either way. Main idea, main purpose behind wrapping your hands is protection on your knuckles and your wrist, and really the overall hand. This variation, I work in either 2s or 3s and in X's. So by meaning that, we're going to start out by putting the loop over your thumb, and then we're going to go across the top over our wrist. And we're either going to go in 2s or 3s. I'm going to go in 2s. Depending on the size of your hand, you can go in 3s. So if you have a larger hand, probably you work in 2s. If you have a medium-sized hand or a smaller hand, you might want to work in 3s. After you do it a few times, you'll be able to see what works and fits best for you. So I'm going to go around my wrist twice. And as you do this, on most all wraps, you'll see where it's labeled this side down. And with seeing that, you will want to put that side of the wrap down against the wrist. So around your wrist twice, and you're going to start right below the little wrist joint right here, the knobby part of the wrist joint, so between your wrist and your hand. And that's, you'll go around twice. And as you wrap, keep it layered right on top of each other, nice and smooth. And while you wrap, think of it, you want it nice and tight and snug, but not so tight that you're cutting off any kind of circulation. So again, it's a feel process. So keep it snug, but not ripping it and cranking it too much. So around your wrist twice. Once you go around your wrist, we're going to cross it over to our pinky joint. And this is where we start to form our X's. So you're going up to your pinky joint. Now when you get to your knuckles, you have the top knuckle, number 1, and then number 2, and then you have a number 3. So you want to start wrapping around your knuckles halfway between the number 1 joint and number 2 joint. So halfway between. So I'm going to go half between the number 1 and number 2, and I'm going to go around twice. And as you decide also when you're going 2s or 3s, again depending on hand size mostly, but if you've had coming off a significant injury to your wrist or to your knuckles, or have any kinds of aches or pains on either part of the hand and the wrist, then maybe you want to overcompensate and load up a little bit more on that particular area. So maybe you go 3 or 4 for that extra protection on the area that maybe you need a little bit more because of a particular injury or some aches or pains. So around your knuckles twice. You're going to cross it back down to the opposite wrist, side of your wrist. So here's when we start making our X's across the top of our hand. So once we get down there, we're going to go around our wrist once. Again, trying to keep it nice and smooth with the other 2 wraps you want around your wrist. And then from here, we're going to, again, exit or cross it back. And this time we're going to start the weaving process. So we're going to weave it between our pinky joint and our ring finger. And the idea behind this is to help keep these finger joints and digits and knuckles a little bit separated to help protect, a little more cushion on the ligaments and tendons in there. Also, it's going to help prevent the wrap from sliding down your fingers as you're training. So you weave it to start your pinky and your pointer finger. We're going to come underneath 2 fingers to where we're going to weave it between our pointer and middle finger. From here, weave it between the 2, and then we're going to make that X across the back of our hands. We're going to cross it back over to our wrist, and then around our wrist once. And as you wrap this, keep those fingers wiggling. Again, trying to keep it tight and snug, but loose enough so you're not cutting any kind of circulation, making it uncomfortable. Around your wrist once. As you come back around, you're going to start an X, or that cross in the back of your hand. And now you're going to go through the last 2 fingers, which is the middle finger and your ring finger, and weave between those 2. From here, you're coming underneath, and you're going to go between your thumb and your pointer finger, and you're going to wrap it around your knuckles at least 2 times. And again, if you have a significant injury you're coming off of or any kind of ache or pain, maybe you want to put a little bit more cushion up here. And if you're doing 3s because of the size of your hand, then you're doing 3s automatically, and then you just continue if you need to. From here, I'm coming back underneath. Now I'm going to exit or cross it back, across the back of my hand, down to my wrist and around my wrist once. Okay? Again, we're keeping those fingers wiggling. And now as I come under, and this is a personal preference, some people do it, some don't, you're going to wrap your thumb. So again, it's optional, but I'm just going to show you what to do, and then you can choose whether you want to do that or not. So as you come back under your wrist, you're going to go up over your thumb. And what you want to do is make this, stretch this wrap out the best you can, so it's nice and smooth. Try not to have it all crinkled up like this. It might end up that way eventually, but to start with, you want to keep this nice and smooth, stretched out. Around your thumb, and then a back around your wrist. Now you can choose to wrap your thumb again a second time. Come back over the thumb, wrap it around, and back your wrist. Again, personal preference, however much you want to load up on your thumb. Again, some people wrap your thumb don't. So you can come up over and go around a second time. I'm just going to do it the one time. I'm going to finish, come back around my wrist, and now as you get here, ideally you want to come down when your hand and your wrist meet. You want to come down about 2 to 3 inches up your forearm. And the reason for that is, if we just keep it right here, stretched real narrow, that one strip close to our hand, then as we train, generally it's going to all start to loosen up a little bit and slide down our wrist. So we want to try to prevent that. So we're just gradually going to go down our wrist a little bit, and as we come down, that one last wrap around our wrist is going to be like that stopper, that barrier from preventing, it's going to prevent that wrap from loosening up and sliding down my wrist. And we just keep it and wrap it around our wrist. Now what happens sometimes, if you've wrapped your wrist and for whatever reason it comes and the Velcro is down facing your wrist, as opposed to you want it obviously facing away from your wrist so you can then Velcro it on. So if it is, all you have to do is just twist above, come back around, and then a Velcro will be up, and then you just secure it by meshing those together. So that's one variation of a hand wrap. Again, thinking of the knuckles and the wrist protection, making crosses or an X across the top of your hand. And then generally when you're finished, you should see this open part of your palm, and that means you have a pretty good wrap. Again, the thumb is optional. You can do it 1 time, 2 times, or you can choose not to do it at all. Okay? And then secure, if you have to twist it at the end, secure it because for whatever reason that side ended up down, then you do so. And then try to stretch it down 2 to 3 inches down your wrist, so preventing it from loosening up and falling down more of into your forearm. Hello everyone, Bruce Lombard here, owner of Lombard MMA and creator of Lombard MMA Fit. I'm hopeful this instructional video is helpful in your learning and your future application of the technique. Please use the comment section below if you have any questions regarding this technique or about your martial arts training, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Check out LombardMMA.com for hundreds of more instructional videos, more home fitness workouts, nutritional tips, motivational quotes, training tips, and application strategies. Please subscribe to the Lombard MMA YouTube channel where you can get the most recent updates and new videos as they are posted. Thank you for training with Lombard MMA. Hope to see you back again soon.